The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
Baboon, and the caged baboon that used to fight people in Indiana at the state fairs. So he would tell me these fucking stories. He told me so many stories, man. I mean, I could write a freaking book with all what Kevin told me,
Well, I gotta tell you, man. When you look back at your life, you're gonna look at this relationship with Kevin Sullivan, and you're gonna look back at and smile, right?
I do. I smile. I smile as much as I cry that he's gone, and my heart breaks. I smile and I thank God every day. I mean, look. And I'm going to tell you this. I mean, I wouldn't be with the love of my life if it wasn't for Kevin. So Kevin actually inadvertently hooked me up with Karen through TSA. Linda gave Kevin all these books on the way going to the Cauliflower Alley Club. And,
all right, wait a minute. You got to slow down now because this seems like a pretty solid story. So, all right, explain to me. Tell me what happened here.
I'm going through TSA. Kevin and I are going through TSA. And I see this stunning, beautiful woman coming through I call it the maze where the mouse goes through to get the cheese at the end, So yeah. She's milling through this thing, and I see this tiny little girl going through, and I see, Jesus Christ, I make eye contact with her, and I was like, wow. And I look at Kevin, and Kevin goes, all right, here we go. That's what he said when I looked at her, and he turns around. So we go through TSA, and I'm fucking dumbfounded. This girl's like 2-3 people behind me, and I'm staring at her out of the corner of my eye. Kevin, in the meantime, gets caught up in TSA with all the books. They didn't know what the hell he had. I don't know how they can make mistaken books for bombs or whatever, but he's banging on the glass. Our only book. In the meantime, Karen was coming from Norway from a training in Norway for a therapist training in Norway. She had bought in Norway duty-free alcohol, so they had that. They stopped her for that, and they're running it through the chemical test inside that one thing that they could look to see if it's duty-free and sealed and everything, everything was kosher. Kevin starts banging on the glass. I want my shit. What the fuck? My flight's gonna leave now. If you know Kevin would get to the airport 7 hours early. So we were running late. We were only like 2.5 hours early. So Kevin was in high anxiety. So now he's banging. He needs his shit. He's got to get to the terminal in time, to the gate. Now you have Karen looks over. She looks over me. I look over her and I go, I need a drink. She goes, me too. I took that ball and I ran with it. We never got that drink, but we got a cup of coffee, and I fucked that up because I had a cup of coffee with cream for her, and she drinks it black, and I had mine with cream in it. So anyway, I wound up getting her another cup of coffee. So Kevin's exact words, and whenever he would tell the story to people, he said we talked, and Karen was sitting across from us. Karen came and sat between me and Kevin, got closer to us. And she said she could tell the relationship between me and Kevin at the time, how tight we were. Mm. And Kevin looks over, and Kevin turns around. He can't find us. They called her gate. And he says, and Kevin's exact words were, I looked over. He said, and you and her were making out on the line that was going to Costa Rica.
Wait a minute. You meet for the first time? You guys already swapping spit? What's going on here, Anderson?
Listen, it was love at first sight for the both of us.
Wow.
And he looked over, he goes, hey, you look like you were going off to Vietnam to war.
Yeah, I got to get out. Listen, we're almost out of time, Andrew. I want to thank you again for having this tribute to the great Kevin Sullivan. I want to remind everybody, Andrew Anderson, lifelong professional wrestler. It's hard enough to be a professional wrestler for 5 years, 10 years. Andrew Anderson's been hitting this for like 20 some odd years.
31 years. This April will be 31 years.
31 years. You also, Andrew, has also been an actor. You could see him on one of the greatest movies of all time, The Wrestler. He's also been part of Gotham, many commercials. He's also a bodyguard. He's bodyguard the great Ace Frehley and other musicians along the way. Andrew, as we come to an end, my friend, we're going to ask you one thing, and would like you to send us out. If there's any message you could send to Kevin Sullivan, if you had one last thing you could say to him, what would you say?
Thank you. Thank you. That's all. Thank you. I love you, and thank you for everything you've done for me.